Hello YouTube, my name is Joe. I'm a husband of one and a father of five. I work as a high school shop teacher. And this is my 525 foot workshop inside of my barn. So come on in. So yes, YouTube, I am not a woodworker, I'm not a metal worker, I'm not even a mechanic. I'm a shop teacher. I'm a pretty handy guy, but I really enjoy working with the land, growing things, raising animals, and this is my shop where I can heat it, I can air condition it, and I can maintain a lot of the things that surround my life. So this will definitely be a little bit different than your normal wood shop tour or metalworking tour. But this is what I have, and you might find some of these things helpful, and I'm really hoping that this will not be a waste of your time. So really quick, we're just gonna kind of do a circle and kind of show you a little bit of everything. So that's the entry door that you guys come in. Right here, this is a actual sliding door. It's a barn door, sliding door that used to be on the outside of my barn space there. And so this shop is a 36 by 16 space. So once I built out the walls to 6-inch thick, it is now a 35 by about 15 foot workspace. So really long, not super wide. I cannot bring a vehicle into this space, but I knew that with the orientation of this shop being underneath the loft and then underneath one of my lean-tos in my barn, I still needed to be able to get equipment into it. I needed to be able to get garden tractors, four-wheelers. In fact, we painted a flatbed off a pickup truck in here last winter. And so those kind of things. So what I actually did was I put the barn door that we took off the back side, and I insulated that with 2 inches of closed cell foam. I've got a video out there on that somewhere in the YouTube. And then we actually used brush seals to seal this off. I don't know if I can get you up there a little closer. And then I have these cam lock type fasteners, so I can easily pull that back, pull the other one back, and slide the door to the side. So that allows me to have almost 8 feet by like 7 feet of entry where I can bring a vehicle in. I can get the whole nose of a vehicle in there. I can bring equipment in. I can back the pickup truck in and unload things, bring stuff in with my front end loader. And that just gives me quite a bit of space to access that. And so a little bit different look, but that is my entry point for big things. So if you're not familiar with brush seals, this is my weather stripping. I have this going around the top, on the sides, and then on the exterior, it's on the floor. It keeps that cold air from rushing in. I said that I had 2 inches of foam. I actually have 2 1-inch layers of foam, and so they're cross-sectioning so that we don't have any, it's not going to weep through any of those cracks in between those seams. And then I covered that in OSB, 1/2-inch OSB. So that's that door. So the barn door has been pretty good. I do wish that I would be able to pull a vehicle into this shop. I might be able to put a bump out on the back side of the barn, and then I could pull a vehicle in. I would probably need somebody to do some engineering for me, just because you got posts going up. They do support the roof structure somewhere in there. And so maybe not, could possibly push this wall all the way out to the far side of my barn. That would make this shop now about 16 foot by 48 foot. So it'd take up the whole back side of the barn. Not certain if that would be the right move. Time will tell, right? So a lot of stuff in the shop I'm not really going to talk about too much. I'm not going to talk about the elliptical I don't use. This box fan really is the most done up box fan you will find on YouTube, where I have French cleats on both sides. I have J channel that I could put a filter in, and so you'll see I have several spots. I can blow air out, blow air in, put that there. I can have the wind going this way, and then I have another one of those clips along that wall, just so that I can move air with this. If I'm doing a lot of sanding, I can put this right over the workbench, put the filter in there, and filter out a lot of that sand. I'm not going to talk about the van seat that's just kind of sitting in the shop. Someday that van seat is going to go away just because I want the wall space, right? Wall space is pretty important. Some things that I do enjoy is I do enjoy having shelves. It's nice to have shelves out in the rest of the barn space, but certain tools need to be locatable. And I'm not going to go through each shelf. That would be silly. But we have shelves on that side of the shop, and then we have another set of shelves on that side of the shop. And quite honestly, the shelves, they house all sorts of supplies. They're not always super organized, but they do have the speakers up there. They do look pretty good. It helps me be a little bit organized. Let's talk about how I heat this shop. You'll see that I use two things to heat this shop. I have an electric PTAC unit. This is what you would see in hotels. This does have a heat pump, so if the outside air is about 40 degrees, then it will run off a heat pump system. If it drops below that, or really the coils drop below that, it goes into a resistor heat mode. And then you can see that thermostat is right there for that item. I will also use this 20-pound tank, and that will burn that propane, and that helps to really bring that temperature up. I keep the shop about 50 degrees just to make sure that I'm being conservative on energy. But I want to make sure that any solvents in here, I do have some paints in here, that they don't freeze. But I know that with this propane guy, it puts off a lot of humidity as it burns. And so I want to make sure that that water vapor doesn't build up and rust off all the tools. And so that is what you need. You do not want lots of rust and lots of humidity in the air. So been a pretty good move. Golly gee, Joe, I always see you sharing firewood and this and that. To put a wood stove in my barn was going to cost me over $400 a year for insurance. I can't justify that at my point in my life. I don't spend that much time out here. And so if this was where I made my living, yes, maybe. But we did some work on how much this would cost if I kept the shop at 60 with this, and it raised my electric bill about $150. And so I would probably just run this before I put a wood stove in, because that runs off a thermostat. Then I don't have to worry about it. Other thing that you will see in my shop, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I have good lighting. I do take a lot of pride in that. And I can't say that it was any good deed of my own. Growing up, we had fluorescent lights. We had 4 foot, we had 8 foot. They're big giant troughers that hung on the walls and the ceiling. And if it was below 30 degrees, they would take forever to light up. Lighting in this shop is by Barina, and that's a T5 LED light. Sometimes you'll get a little flickering. I don't think it usually affects my camera so much, but you will see a little flickering from that LED. Shop's at 50, and so it's a little bit different. I did plumb all this. Let me spin you around. I did wire all that into a switch there, and then I have that switch by my entry door. And so that was super easy to put together. And these two strips above my head, those were just, they come with all the connectors. You plug them in, with the brackets on the ceiling. And man, it just illuminates. It floods the wall, painted the ceiling white, and it just did a good job. Recently, I added this other strip here, and let me bring that up. Those are also by Barina. Those are still pretty much the same light, but the other ones, color temperature is 5,000. These are 6,500. And so my issue that I was running into as, I run the metal lathe, I run my old wood lathe, and I'm starting to cast shadows. I should say I'm becoming more noticeable of the shadows. Maybe that's my age and my maturity. But these are really great. I just have them plugged into the wall down there. But now as I'm operating, the light is coming straight down onto where I'm working, and that's pretty helpful. Now Barina did reach out to me and see the brightness, see the difference, right? And maybe I sound like sales pitch right now, but guys, these lights are so inexpensive that you have no excuse. Don't buy fluorescent bulbs. Don't buy CFLs. Just buy these lights, right? I tell everybody, I invite people in, look, these lights. And so, from now till the end of the year, if you use the code Youngblood, you'll get 10% off those Barina lights on Amazon. And I'm sure that if we saw that lots of folks were using that code, they would continue it. I have no doubt that they would continue that. And I would put a note in the description if that continued. But Youngblood, and so you're not going to go wrong. This strip right here, that strip against the wall, those 6 lights, like $50. These strips here above my head, all 8 of them, the whole infrastructure, everything. You don't need ballast, any of that. Each one of those was like $60. So really, really reasonable. We'll back up a little bit. Sorry about that sales pitch, but I'm basically going to share any discounts or any great things that I find for you. And that is an affiliate link. So if you purchase that, I get a small kickback, and usually that's a pretty low percentage, but it does help run the farm here. My drill press, it's an old Craftsman. Everything is steel, everything is cast iron here. I'm not quite sure if this was my dad's or my grandfather's. I think it was probably my dad's, but by the time when Grandpa was done with it, my dad already had a couple of them. And so this has been in my shop. I do like that it's pretty sturdy. It's belt drive, so if I ever have to swap out a motor, super simple. I can change speeds. It's heavy though. It's got a real heavy base. I'd like to get that on a small mobile cart. Maybe someday, right? Maybe someday. You will definitely see some trends in this shop. And one of the trends is I like electrical outlets. I think I've already said that. This is my grandfather's South Bend metal lathe. This is a 1947 South Bend. And it is a 9-inch, 4.5-foot bed. And Grandpa left me all sorts of instructions, all sorts of manuals, the how to run a lathe manual, and all that. It is leather belt driven. And about a year after I had it into the shop, the motor, it just started smoking on me one day. And so you will see that I've got a more modern, I believe it's a Lesson, but it is a reversible motor, and it's half horse and it does the trick, right? Once again, just wire wheel on a French cleat, and quite honestly, I have that for a couple spots in the shop just to clean threads, clean this, clean that. I got a couple old tools here. This is my old 6 and 1/8" joiner by Craftsman. I like it. I do need to get some new blades for it, but I like this machine a lot. Right here is an old Craftsman 100. You can see that it is on just a single leg. Needs a motor, right? It needs a splitter, it needs a guard, it needs switch, it needs wiring. It needs a lot of work. I would love to have a saw stop right here, but you know, maybe, right? That's a tough thing to pull, right? The workbench, the tool rack, the whiteboard. I use that whiteboard quite a bit to make some notes once in a while, and so always have scrap wood down below. I do not have a need to store wood in this shop. I will take you guys up to the loft in a little bit, but I don't have a need to store wood in this shop. Unless I'm working on a project, then I will bring it in, build the project, move the project out. A lot of this stuff the kids will access for this and that. This is not the clean shop tour. That box right there is where I put the scraps that they can play with. And if they want something off this little rack here, they just ask. My thought is, if they're comfortable in here, if they're doing something safe, then that is a good. Like I said, this is not the super clean shop tour. This is the practical shop tour, where it is used by myself and all other 6 members of my family. Miter saw. That's just a plain old Ryobi miter saw. I bought that thing 13 years ago. I put a different blade on it, and it just keeps on kicking. It really does. It's done a great job. I would love to build a actual like table for that this winter. We'll see. If I do, I will share that. Miter saw stands, they're really pretty messy. You can see that everything just hits the ground, and then really that space underneath it is not usable, right? Just some tool racks, tool storage, a few quick clamps, then my old wood lathe. This is an old Delta Homecraft, and so it's open belts, but it's still the 1 inch 8 threads per inch. I've used a wind chuck on it for a while, and this will just become a little bowl. I find that this is very therapeutic. It really is very therapeutic, just to do a little shaping. But this is where I'm plugging that wiring in. I'm hoping to maybe run a separate circuit back to where my switch is. That way I could do everything on switches. I like switches. You'll see everything is done inside conduit because it's just simple. It's super simple. It looks great. But once again, you can see that right there. I was running into this issue where it got kind of dark. And I don't know at what point my eyes started failing, but now I have a whole lot more brightness. That's pretty good. Got the old Craftsman table saw. I think I paid $50 for this old table saw. The whole thing shakes when you operate it, but it stays pretty true. The fence isn't very good. You got to always, as you set it, you measure the front of the blade against the fence, the back of the blade against the fence, just to make sure that it is parallel to that blade. But once you lock it in, it's in pretty good shape. It does a good job. On the ground over there, you can see some blankets there. This is also my cold storage for squash and potatoes right now. And those will usually stick around until about the New Year's, and then I just clean it out because there's heating up and cooling down in here. It's not steady enough. There's not enough humidity in there really for squash and potatoes, but it'll freeze in the big barn, and so I need to bring it out. Kids workbench, I built that for the oldest way back in the day, and now the kids just kind of, they tinker with it. It was built out of the cabinets that were in our farmhouse, and just pocket hold together, and it does a pretty good job. I do have the Rikon 10326. I bought that, man, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, sneaking up on 3 years. I did purchase this through Fast Tools now. Excuse me, I purchased that through Fast Tool now. And we purchase a lot of our equipment through them for my school shop. They're located in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, and really great guys to work with. And I was able to pick this up right from the place and save shipping. Put it in the back of the van, and it was pretty great. But I do like this machine. This is a pretty hardy machine. You know, you can put all 3/4 inch blade. I think I keep a 3/8 on it most of the time. I did get the mobile cart for it for that same Christmas that I got that. I do like that it has storage down below, so I can keep my blades in there, little tool kits, fences in there, that sort of thing. And so that's pretty great. I would not want this saw in my school shop, however, because all the roller bearings, everything is very easy to adjust. I like the fact that my old Deltas at school, you need to use an Allen wrench and set screws, but once you set them, they're done. Here, with this one, too many tinkerers, the belt tension, it'd be very difficult to keep that adjusted. But for a home shop, it's an excellent machine. It really is. Then we get to the tools, all right? The tools. Once again, I'm not a woodworker, I'm not a mechanic, but you just see my boys, the oldest has his tool set in here. Someday there will be more tools in here. This cabinet here I got from my father while he was a tool and die maker. His factory was getting rid of stuff, and they would share them with their employees. And so I was able to get that. I can move it with my forks on the back of my tractor. But this thing, you definitely have to harness it to the wall. It's not really ideal. The drawers are almost too tall to really organize things well. But it was a freebie, and so freebies do a good job. The cabinet up there, I keep measuring equipment, drill bits, manuals, pretty much anything that I don't want mice to get into. You close those doors, stays pretty tight. Then that brings us right around to the door where we started. So why do I share all this? Do I share this for views? Do I share this to gloat? Do I share this? I share this because I love shop tours. I learn a lot about organizing. Not that much. You can tell that this is probably the dirtiest shop tour you'll ever see. But to get those little ideas, maybe someone would like to see my fan, right? That box fan. And I just learned that off YouTube. You know, maybe you'd want to see the lighting, right? Or maybe you danced around with the idea of a PTAC unit. You know, when you weigh it against how much insurance, and sorry guys, I am going to insure this barn, and I'm not going to trick my insurance company. So what's next? What's next for me in this shop space? Usually the winter, I start to focus on my shop. And I wanted to record this for myself more than anybody else in the world. One of the things I really want to figure out is I would like to build that miter saw stand. I'd like to be able to build some drawers into it, some storage into it, get stuff in there. That's one thing that I'd like to add. I would like to have a woodworking bench. A couple of them I looked on YouTube. You can buy some plans. You know, I think Brad from Fix This Build That, I think that's right. He built a really nice workbench. I'm eyeing that. And so I'd like to do something like that, but it definitely would have to be on wheels. It's just very hard to do woodworking on an uneven metal workbench. You can't clamp, you can't fasten. It's not good. And so those are two of the things that I really am kind of aiming towards. Table saws, would love to upgrade table saws, and maybe that'll make it to the top of the list. Seems to me like I just don't have time. So when it comes to time building a workbench, I don't have that time. And so I think I'm rambling now. And so thanks for joining me today. Thanks for spending any bit of your time with me. This is my 2023 shop tour. Like I said, if you want to take advantage of that code, it will be in the description. And really, I appreciate you guys using any of those Amazon links and making your purchases through that. It really helps out a little bit. And so you guys have a great day. And I hope that you get to enjoy your shop as well. Bye now.